Have you checked the children? Your little master.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Greetings and welcome, Fright fans. Jaime and Fuego here, and I am jumping into another Patreon review. Yeah, that is Reezy, everybody, and it is none other than the Manitou. I'm totally butchering the pronunciation, unfortunately, but this is one that was done from a poll extraction a number of months ago, and we're still in the process of catching up on a lot of stuff. But this is legitimately, I thought it was the same glass, because of the fact that it is a 70s film and that it veers into the goofy at least a little bit, but it still is cathartic and crazy when it needs to be, and so in such a fascinating fashion of like furious, frightening shit. So yeah, this film, overall thoughts. I was intrigued, although it was most definitely borrowing from a few things, being 1978, if I'm not mistaken, when this film came out. So there was like a precedent that was set for psychedelic science fiction that was leading up to the release of this film, and even like the shooting and the editing and the creation of it. So that's the big thing. But more so than anything, the selling point of this is none other than esteemed, amazing actor Tony Curtis. And I recognized him right off the bat, and that's another reason why I thought it was you, Sam. But I'm watching this film, and so story-wise, I guess this is a good point to veer into it without spoiling too much. But so, okay, there's a woman who has a grotesque growth on the back of her neck, and it is getting bigger and bigger, and it is not just like cystic, whatever. It seems like it is almost like a child, like growing on the back of her neck. Based on a novel, this horror film, so take that into consideration. But, so, that is obviously transpiring, and yet in correspondence, we have Tony Curtis's character, who is, he's a charlatan. He is a sham. He is a person who reads like the tarots and all this stuff of these unwittingly, like weirdly stupid women who have no idea about what is technically transpiring. And so they look to him for otherworldly guidance, and he's obviously playing them, as evidenced by the fact that like within the first 20 minutes in the movie, and one of my favorite scenes in the film, no less. So he gets done with the chicanery, with the fake, nasty, just, well, not even nasty, just goofy, like heavy-handed sort of thing that he's doing. And he throws on some disco, and he starts pouring the alcohol into like a glass that is most definitely not intended for such. And so, yeah, I mean, he's, as I say, con man dancing to the disco funk with beer in the wine glass. Yeah, man, Tony Curtis is great in this film. And his hetero-ness is questioned with due diligence, and who cares? It's awesome to think about said possibilities. But nonetheless, the fact that he has this friendship with this woman who is the aforementioned with the growing growth on the back of her neck. So it's an interesting film in that particular regard. And, from a stylistic standpoint, holy moly, there is a seance bit where Tony Curtis's character is reconnecting with some of his former friends. So before, he was just putting it on for like, shits and giggles and for, stacking the cashola. He was legit. And so he reconnects with some of the more legit people, most notably this woman who was like with a pirate husband or something. I don't know. I feel like I'm dissing and, criticizing too much. However, he reconnects with them, and they do a seance. And in that particular seance, there's a really rad status scene of a manifestation of the nastiness emerging from this black pool in the center of the table. And it's really well done. Practical effects. No, I mean, back in the 70s, they didn't have this particular opportunity. So, yeah, that is awesome. I already mentioned the music and the fact that, yes, it's very striking and helps to build sort of a thing. This movie really falters, unfortunately, in its back half, regrettably, in the fact that it does go like pretty psychedelic at times, but it also goes with I filmed a review for Clear Cut earlier, which is a Native American leaning film, and I am growing up here in Phoenix, Arizona, spending most of my childhood in Vilas, Arizona, and all of those who lived here in the United States before me, and my love, my affinity for them. This film explores some of their plight a little bit, and most notably a friendship between that particular character, our lead, the Tony Curtis, and somebody who he is trying to, of the, those who are in the Americas long before us, can they help us with this particular quandary? Yeah, that's what we have transpire. And there's trial and error, and there's failure, but there is a camaraderie between the two of them, which is one of my favorite things about this film, despite the fact that a lot of the rest of it is really goofy. So the friendship between them is great. It's scary early on, but once we get to the little people and the manifestation of, who/what is actually orchestrating this dread, that's where the film starts to lose itself. So, yeah, that's about the extent of it. Fascinating film, though, especially from a visualistic standpoint and also from a camaraderie standpoint. I have to double down, man. Anytime, the nastiness of what people who look like me perpetuated in just, I don't know, culminating their, taking over of this country. Yeah, I know. Negative topics and so on and so forth, but I love everything about those who resided before and how we have thankfully, made our way together. So I've been Jaime and Fuego, and I just felt like it was very important to mention this in the field of the Manitou, in my just butchered pronunciation. It's a very intriguing film, properly casted, and yeah, you can find more on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube, and yes, much appreciated for your insight. For anybody who comments on this, who is a part of the Horror Show Patreon, give us some thoughts, because this was a poll, so it's not like I can point it out specifically to somebody who was, reprehensible or responsible or whatever for actually, wanting some insight from all of us. So, once again, gracias. I've been Fuego. Y'all been Rad Status. And until the Wheel of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, Frank fans. And until we get to share more palaver, remember, stay scared.